Okay, against my better judgment, I have clearly decided to go live during one of my many insomnia bouts. I do have a touch of the mania, and insomnia can be a major part of my mania, as well as somebody like me that goes on and off drinking. When I do dry up from time to time, this is very typical. Doesn't help when I have work early in the morning, but first off, I wanted to say a huge welcome and thank you to the vast number of you that have shown up and showed any form of support, feedback, commentary, offered me new cases to look at. And I also just finished the show that I've been a part of for a better part of 3 years now, called Stuck in the Middle. The full URL, youtube.com/Stuck in the Middle, where I got to speak to my longtime co-host, partner, friend, Josh, and our longtime friend and guest, Brock, who does have a career coming in law enforcement. And I knew I was going to get quite a reaction from both of them when I proposed the entire thing regarding the Kiely Rodni case, as reported by Ryan Upchurch. So, it's important. Well, first I want to ask this, okay? Because there was some fair speculation on the show, and in the comments, I will leave a link for the show that I did a part of. I want to be absolutely transparent. I don't want people to think that I'm just trying to always, use a pander or the hashtags. But of course, I have a YouTube channel, and absolutely, I want my voice heard. But the person on the screen that the camera's on doesn't mean a fucking thing if they do not have the support of the very people that lend their voice, which is why I will always parade any supporter, any shape or form that offers feedback and or criticism, because that's what keeps everything going. So about that, the first thing that I have on my mind is I want to ask, since such a huge declaration was made, right? What Ryan Upchurch said, what was it, just 2 days ago? It feels longer in my mind, but that's just what happens when I have 2 days off. He came out and said some pretty out there stuff, or, depending on who you talk to, I see and I recognize that it's very much fractioned his demographic. So there's people that I know for a fact that will stick to Ryan Upchurch because they are huge fans. I respect the man in all sincerity. My true opinion on this, so I don't appear as like I'm trying to ride anybody's coattails here. And people just need to be honest and forthcoming when they do what they do and for what reasons. Like some of those true crime channels that he properly roasted, they had what was coming to them. I'm just a guy that always tries to get to the bottom of everything, and I kind of vicariously use the platform to do just that. So it's been about, I think, maybe 2-3 days. I'm losing touch with time here a bit. But he's gone silent. I know it's not a long time, and he's a busy guy. He's got a whole career, platinum albums, all that good stuff, and a supporting base that's never going to go away with 3 million followers. So I am curious, like, when he does come out and drop another video, is he going to continue to stick onto the true crime element and asking questions and offering speculations? I celebrate and applaud anybody that utilizes the First Amendment right of freedom of speech. But where do we get the slippery slope argument here that my friends and co-hosts in the podcasting world always mention? Like, Alex Jones is an individual that, despite how controversial he was, had a lot of respect and still does. He has accomplished a lot through a lot of out-of-the-box thinking, right? And I saw a lot of people comparing Ryan Upchurch to Alex Jones. In my heart of hearts, I believe Ryan Upchurch started something with the best of intentions. I think he absolutely pointed out honest-to-goodness inconsistencies and shady shit. But when I tried to have this discussion where people disagree, and it's important to accept people that disagree. There are far too many people that strike you as or write you off as an enemy because you don't think the same way. That is what makes America. It is our ability to have discourse and communicate. We cannot be dividing so easily. We cannot fraction so easily. In one of Ryan Upchurch's videos, he, in a condescending way, and I respect and understand it because he was being attacked quite a bit. And I'm not trying to come off like I'm defending him. But if I disagree with him, I'm going to be forthcoming about that and not try to, be shady about anything that I'm doing here. So I also, as you can tell, I like to talk quite a bit. And this is a way for me, this is catharsis. I don't go see a therapist, okay? This is kind of what I do to stay on an even keel. So I know I can appear like a manic person spitting and speaking gibberish, sometimes spitting literally on my microphone, but it's just me trying to make sense of the world sometimes. And a lot of the comments that I got before, thank you to the overwhelming number of you that accept me for me. And it's okay to the people that are asking me if I'm okay. I'm okay. I am concerned a little bit if Ryan Upchurch is okay. On the show that I did tonight, there was some fair speculation that perhaps he may get a visit from, I don't know, would the FBI get involved? Would any law enforcement official get involved? When do we draw the line at speculation going too far? I don't think there should be too many lines being drawn when people are just simply thinking and asking questions. That should be celebrated, not punished. But we do see an example in stark contrast to Alex Jones, Sandy Hook, and his followers did harass poor families that just lost their children. And, I don't want to see that happen in this case. So there's valid questions that have been posed. There's some evidence that I showed that I know people just don't fully agree with, and I have to respect that. And I also have to question my own stance, and you have to question everything and just never get too secure in any one school of thought. Okay, while you maintain an open mind, just always be honest with yourself. And if you do that, you don't have to worry about lying to other people. So I'm curious as to when he does drop another video. I'm more at this point intrigued with his thoughts and opinions than I am with his music. So this is me just publicly putting out there. The moment a video drops, for whatever reason, I don't seem to get an update any longer. I noticed that after whatever video came last, and it's been a very short span of time, but I'm curious because he was doing this quite a bit. I don't think anything is wrong, but I am concerned if law enforcement does get involved. So I'm going to hop, skip, and jump real quick to something that was sent to me. And bear with me. And hello, Foraging. I think I see you. I hope you were able to catch Stuck in the Middle tonight. Josh and I did speak about you, by the way. Not this. So here's a case that was sent my way. And it's another. This one specifically is not the missing persons case. This was one of those fatalities. The family largely thinks that their daughter had some sort of foul play here. Now, for some of you, this is a very familiar case that happened in, I think, I don't want to get it wrong, maybe 2019. And I'm just going to play the footage. Kenneka Jenkins. The video itself is it's strange in a number of ways, and I understand why a family, once getting all the information, seeing what they see here, would have questions. But I don't know. I mean, so let me see. Let me kind of go through the motions live and in real time. I love learning things in real time. Let me get the audio. I did lower everything when I go on the larger show because it's louder. The sound quality is 100%, and I have a shitty setup. But we're going to rectify that in the old school way here. This is how we do things.
Dead in a hotel freezer. CBS 2's Audrina Begas joins us now. So you poured through this video. What is it showing us? 36 hours of video, and this was just released to us a few hours ago. This video shows Kenneka Jenkins walking into the kitchen, but we never see her entering the freezer. And tonight, that is why her family is not satisfied with the theory that she walked into the freezer on her own. Surveillance video shows Kenneka Jenkins walking with friends at the Crowne Plaza Hotel early Saturday morning. We see her a few hours later by herself. At one point, she stumbles out of an elevator. Later, she repeatedly hits the wall walking down this hallway. Another camera catches her running into a stairwell and then catching her fall. Video time codes appear to show Kenneka roaming the hotel for over
3:30
an
in the morning.
hour.
She's trying to find her way, and no one from Crown Plaza Hotel responds to her.
Around 3:30 a.m., Kenneka enters a lower-level kitchen in the hotel. She walks out of frame, but then she's captured walking here on another camera. But we still don't see her entering the freezer.
I want to see all. I want to see her do.
So what I want to add real quick is that I have been told through a third party for this, old case, closed old case. I don't know that it's a cold case, but the freezer in which they found her, and I did see the very disturbing pictures of her lifeless body inside of the freezer. The hotel, apparently, if the information I got is credible, is that there's a camera directly above the freezer in question, yet the hotel doesn't have the footage of her getting in there or anything up to that part except for what we see here. So, and also, I get that it's 3:30 in the morning when she returns from wherever she was, definitely under the influence. I think that's clear as day to see in her behavior. But nobody, like no security, nobody at the front door area, no staff. Again, 3:30, I know, but there's a night shift for every hotel. I'm sure anybody watching this has been to a hotel. There's at least a couple of staff members on hand. If you see a young girl walking around like that, wouldn't you act or get involved? And who's watching the fucking cameras? I get it. We're not in Fort Knox, and there's not, like, great security or even eyes on the monitors at all times. But what about the camera? I do have to do my part and investigate as many articles and public accessibly information that I can regarding this alleged camera that would have all the answers for this poor family and rule out any foul play and prove that she locked herself in the freezer. The photographs I saw that I don't dare put on here is her scrounged up to the corner, missing a shoe. One of her shoes is off. There's some wet matted hair. It appears to be that, or I don't know, it could have been some kind of mold. And there's an injury. Like there's a bit of blood on her foot, her own blood. And that's it. Her body is there. And she gets wasted and walks into the fridge and locks herself in there and just dies. So this is just one case out of quite a few. And I always think, as I say, whoever's here on the screen, we don't mean a thing without whatever doesn't come or does come from the other side of this screen, if you know what I mean. So let me hear the family's final statement, and then there is Summer, I forget her last name, the 6-year-old, whose father just recently, apparently, wrote a letter to the person or persons involved in his daughter's kidnapping, and that story is just even stranger than the Kiely Rodni case to me. Even though with the Kiely Rodni case, we have a cast of characters that inserted themselves into the story that made it, I think, a bit more complex and a bit more suspicious. Yes, I'm talking about Xana May and Ismail, but I don't know. There's nothing credible that can stick anymore. And the Ronnie Jones, I can't be throwing accusations around. I don't have the fucking defense for that. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. But I'll always be, ranting, so I'll always be at risk of saying some shit. But anyway.
He's closing herself within this freezer.
I want all of the recordings, all of the communications, all of the reports, the statements that were taken. I want to know the individuals that were there.
Tonight, Rosemont police say 31 people were at the party with Kenneka inside the hotel room, booked with a fraudulent credit card. Police say they're still trying to identify and find 15 of the partygoers. Meanwhile, autopsy and toxicology results have yet to be released.
Why is Kenneka dead? That's where we need to be. We will get to the bottom of it. We will only go to where the facts lead us.
Kenneka's family attorneys say they will be conducting their own independent
2017.
investigation. They're also considering a second autopsy. Robin, Eric.
No more answers than what we have, even from back then. From everything that I've saw, it's just theory after theory after theory. Let me go ahead. That's where I got my image. This case. See, I'd always be wary to anybody out there that goes through the rabbit hole, and the last commenter on the video that seems to get the most traction, and I'm again humbled, was asking if I'm okay. I understand showing concern when somebody deep dives into missing kids or human trafficking. I do want to see more of a diligent focus on human trafficking within our own fucking borders, within our country, the United States. To think human trafficking is such a prevalent issue, yes, even here, it's very disturbing, and it just goes somewhere real deep into the pit of my stomach. So I just, clearly there's a lot of impassioned people about this topic, so why, I know you can't prevent crimes, we're not in fucking Minority Report, but it just seems it's so crazy in terms of the stats and the numbers. It's staggering. It's disappointing. This case, this little beautiful girl here, she is gone, and the father, who is in jail, not for any relatable reasons, apparently for a DUI, and he lost his daughter, I believe, custody rights after that DUI. He wrote this letter. But apparently I must have missed a lot of context here, because he writes in this letter about how he and his wife cannot get a job anywhere while he's in jail, but that nobody will hire her. So did I miss a whole portion of this case that throws speculation on the wife or the mother? Because her story is that she was out in the garden with her little 6-year-old Summer, and they were picking flowers, and the mother tells her boys, I think there were 2, to watch her. She goes into her house for all but 2 minutes. 2 minutes, so everybody's on the property. And then the mother, noticing that her little Summer is nowhere to be seen, and asks the brothers, hey, where is my girl? Where's Summer? Oh, Ma, and the answer she gives is just, it's easy to look too deep into things and then just go a little wild. I don't want to do that, but I will go unhinged if I have to. But she says, I had noticed that I didn't see her for 2 fucking minutes, so I was told she was in the basement. No, she was downstairs playing with her toys. I called for her name and was shocked she didn't respond, because she always responds to my call. So I went downstairs to discover she was gone, and I felt in my heart that somebody took her away. So I don't even know if they had found a body. I don't believe they did, especially if the father is still writing letters to the would-be or possible person or persons involved in this kidnapping. So this is this was just published July 19th of this year. Adventures with Purpose. I hope they come through on this case. The father of Summer Moon Utah Wells, the young girl who has been missing from her Northeast Tennessee home. See, this is a new case to me, shared by you. More than 13 months, has penned a letter to the person or persons responsible. Summer, who would now be 6 years old, so she was even younger. She was 5 years old. In 2 minutes, she's just snatched up and gone. How is that? I can't wrap my head around. How is that possible? And what ninja-like quality does somebody need to have to just run into somebody's home and property? What does the street look like? What are the neighbors? What is the life at this time? What time was it? It was last seen around 6:30 p.m. Okay, so evening time, June 15th, 2021, at her home located along Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County, Tennessee. Her family said she was headed down to the basement to play with her toys. Her father, Donwell, believed she was taken by someone. Within 2 minutes, that prompted an Amber Alert. Okay, and there's the letter, which is, you can take a lot from it, I suppose. They are explaining their woes and their, I hope, I don't know. I mean, you be the judge. I suppose I could read it. They released it in a way where a lot of, video was made to add emotion. And you tell me if it's sincerity. I guess there was some suspicion cast on the family that I had never known. I didn't know this case. To the person or persons responsible for kidnapping Summer, not only have you broken Summer's heart and taken her away from her mother and father, who love her very much, but you ruined her chances to become educated, ruining her life. You have also broke the hearts of her father and her mother and brothers, and in the midst of all the commotion, ruined our lives. You see, the public blames us. I gotta I got to do my own part to see why. I don't know if we'll ever find employment again. Is that something that, I suppose if you're broken, you'll reflect a bit about you, but if this was 100%, about wanting to find your daughter, I don't think I'd mention any details, or it's not short-sighted to be worrying about your income, but he's in jail, and it's not for any charges related to her disappearance. It's for his own DUI. I don't know. I'm just reading too deeply, as I do, and I'll call myself out for it. But, don't bitch about your fucking employment possibilities if you're truly just asking for your daughter's well-being. Nobody will hire my wife, and I've been fired from a job I've had for 13 years. That's because you went to jail for a DUI, bro. We may end up losing everything. Why don't you give our little girl back before God's wrath descends on you? You've broken many hearts and more, especially an innocent 5-year-old girl's heart. One day, God will hold you accountable for this crime unless you do something to make this right. Please do the right thing and turn our daughter over to the authorities. We're begging you with all our hearts. Please do the right thing. And the letter is signed Summer's father. See, I feel bad when I speculate without having any context here. I'm just, this is the new direction I'm trying to take this channel that's been around for some time. I never used it as much as I do these days, where I truly seek consistency and answers. Sometimes it's healthy for me to just think out loud and know I'm not alone in some of the confusion that I have in this world that we live in this day and age, where all of the internet and social media and all of these things that are meant to connect us, as I watch it, and we should all be celebrating that we can speak to somebody worlds and worlds away, but instead this tool has served to make us so polarizingly divided and tribalistic, where I start to fear for my country and the working class man and woman, because I just see us so eager to spread hate towards someone else just because there's a disagreement philosophically, religiously, or politically. If we could all put that energy in our individuality and in our opinions, that energy that we keep in feeling and wanting to feel like we're so right in everything, and put it towards understanding one another into unity, think about how much better, instead of complaining about the bullshit representation we have in our government. I think we have a laughingstock of a White House, and if we could just have them take us seriously as the population, we the people, for the people, by the people, we're supposed to have the power. That's why I took two things that are not supposed to be together. Progressive, because I do have progressive values, apparently, although I don't feel that there's any representation left for my side. I don't feel I have renounced the DNC entirely. Okay, I am no longer a fucking Democrat, and I am voting Republican, at least in my state here in Florida, for DeSantis because of how he handled certain things. But I realize when I try to bring up why in conversations, I'm already written off because of my affiliations. I gotta learn to dance this fine dance here, within my rants and my mania, especially on an insomniac night like this, where if I'm trying to work on understanding missing persons, cases, and conspiracies, and I look to you, the viewer, to offer anything that you'd like to see, thought, or discussed on this channel, I'm very much malleable to whatever is brought across the table. And I offer my email, progressivepatriot44@gmail.com. Otherwise, feel free to use the comments. And I know I'm all over the place. Trust me. It's just how my mind works. I want to see the detail regarding the father's own guilt in terms of the DOI. Like, I don't see him having a real leg to stand on about not being employable when he's in jail for a fucking DUI. But then, I'm not the grieving father. I don't know what the suspicion was. I do know the timeline of, regarding 2 minutes, and the daughter's just snatched away after she was picking flowers with the mom, and the mom walks in, and boom, while the brothers are outside, gone. That's a little crazy to me, right? But that's just the world we live in. And then all the questions, back to Kiely Rodni, the police telling Adventures with Purpose, you don't have to look in this area, don't look in this area. And I went on the show earlier today, and I said, They found her within 20 minutes, and on the first time, apparently I was corrected on the fourth try. And then I was starting to make an argument, like, our tax dollars go to the services that we rely upon if, God forbid, our children are missing or a loved one is missing. And so I started bringing up, and respectfully, I understand my friend is on his way to being law enforcement. He always backs the blue. He always defends the police. They're like, he calls them out, but it takes quite a bit, and I'm sure you all know the type. It just goes back to people with their convictions and opinions, which I do look as two different things. But he's so immovable on this thing, and I propose some of the questions that are still valid in the Kiely Rodni case. I don't mean to slander Xana May at all, but she admitted to having footage of the party, and to our knowledge, nobody has footage of that party at all. And she disappeared from YouTube, but now is back, as I did earlier on the video. I visited the page. She just used to have 350 subscribers. I guess, I don't know. There are a lot of factors could have gone in. There could be spite followers that don't like Ryan Upchurch and how he spoke to her and just, started to subscribe to her. She's offered no new content, and she took down that video of her kayaking over the exact body of water where Kiely Rodni is found. I can't sit here and say, yes, I think she fucking did it. That's a dangerous thing to imply or say, but you've put yourself at the scene. Like, this is one of my most tried and true talking points about the case. You put yourself at the scene, and you've, on the night of the crime, and you put yourself at the scene afterwards. And if I'm to remember correctly, the window is down on the CRV. Kiely Rodni's body is in the back, and the vehicle's upside down. How do you miss that? And it was just 30 feet down. Like, you could just be standing. I don't know. That one's gonna bug me. And I don't know enough about Iqmail except that I don't like him. That much I can confidently say. He was a hacker and he did shitty things. I don't watch his channel. I don't know shit about him. And yes, there's a lot of people that, as a result of Ryan Upchurch being outspoken, have absolutely gotten some renown or clout and more people, and I am not going to hide the fact that I know I hit a hot button topic at a certain time, and I just don't want to be framed as disingenuous. But I would love an opportunity, and this is a tall order from somebody with a small little nothing over here, compared to the larger show that I'm a part of, regardless, an ability to speak with somebody that has such strong opinions on whether Ryan Upchurch is 100% right in all of his claims, or at some point I think I started to fall off a little bit, but I don't rule everything out until I am shown proof or evidence, right? So this Cassie person, right? Cassie Ross, we're supposed to believe that the body that was found and AWP was a part of it. What did they're not being dishonest with us. They'd never do that to their reputation or to their work. So anyway, I don't know. I started this video out questioning, where is Ryan Upchurch now? Where's the next video? I do look forward to his thoughts, and my friends did have a nice go at him, and I didn't want it to turn into a roast fest, but it did. People see somebody like Ryan Upchurch speaking so freely, which I respect the fuck out of that, and some would say, though, a bit recklessly, and I am aware of somebody with such a large following that have impassioned people that would go after anybody once, just like it happened with Sandy Hook and Alex Jones, going after, God forbid, this family, this mother who's very real, with very real tears and a very real plea to find the child, and now we're supposed to believe that it was all a ruse or fake. And the GoFundMe, I was told through a third party, through a new commenter, and thank you and welcome again, that the GoFundMe has reached over $134,000, which is way more than it was 2 days ago when my friend Bert Gummer told me it was 62,000 some odd. So after the body is found and the case is apparently in some form closed, even though we don't have answers, but there is a funeral getting planned, that money's still going. My friend Brock, the one that's going to be involved in law enforcement, said all conspiracies have one thing in common. Now, I like to default to the reason why the term conspiracy theory was ever invented, which was by, I don't want to get this wrong, was it J. Edgar Hoover, or did it go even further back than that? It is a term that was invented to discredit the person that talks about it. So that makes perfect sense with a society that wants to be in full control of a status quo and a narrative. And if you think out of the box, like back in the day, if you would say JFK, something with that was fucked up, you would be lambasted, ostracized, made to be a pariah just for asking questions, and that's not the world I want to live in. So that's why I understand people that show fear when Alex Jones got sued for $48 million and is now claiming bankruptcy and has another case to face. But he did real damage there. So right now I think we're going through a very interesting time, and I get very afraid, though, because a lot of legislation that is passed never seems to benefit the working class people, the real people that make up this country. It always seems to serve the elite, the wealthy, the powers that be. No, I don't hate the fucking rich. I just believe that everything is kind of made on easy mode once you get to a certain level of wealth. And that's why, again, I respect the fuck out of, if on some off chance Ryan Upchurch himself happens upon the show I did tonight, I hope he sees that I did not join in the roast fest. And I just did my part as asking questions as well. And if you want to get any theory proven, or if you ever want to understand what you're thinking to be true or not, you have to talk to people that disagree with you. That's the whole value of a dialogue. It's a dance that I hope to never see finally die out in this once great country. I'll try not to get political. I do that quite a bit. But anyway, this is my insomnia. This is my mania manifesting. Thank you for being on the journey with me. The channel will continue to grow differently, better, in a different direction, new equipment and all that. The recent bump I got was much needed. It's very much a void within me that I'm trying to fill by doing this outside of my full-time work and the other show I'm a part of. And please, if you like what I do here, check out that show, Stuck in the Middle, youtube.com/Stuck in the Middle. You'll see where I've been for the past 3 years. And that's that. Please celebrate all the things that unifies us. And if you happen upon a divider, don't let it be the end all. Okay, we need to champion discourse and understanding one another, or we'll be too easy to conquer. Divided we fall. Am I right? So I bid thee a good night. Thanks for listening. This is my therapy. It's good to see you guys, by the way. I am okay, I promise. My goodbyes are just abnormally long. All right, I'm gonna